to say, you can have a dream, you can have a passion, you can have a vision, but the first and foremost, you have to write it down, right? If I can't touch it, it's not real, right? You got to touch it. Now, as you're saying, of course, I could say the natural thing, putting a percentage away, put 5% away until you get to a point where you can take a leap of faith, whatnot. But the most important thing is really believing in that vision. You can say all you want. Everybody says they want to be rich, but who's willing to sacrifice to be rich? I sacrifice friendships, I sacrifice relationships, I sacrifice cars, materialistic things. I've sold things, just so we can keep this engine going to fulfill my dream. I believe so heavily, I went -0, not zero. I went -0 because I knew what the outcome was going to be, right? So at the end of the day is you have to believe in your dream. If you don't believe what you see yourself, like people look at me like this guy's crazy, like especially 2 years ago. Now it might be a little believable now, right? When I say I'm gonna be a well-known speaker, right? Because like people see me I'm on 3-4 stages a month now, right? So it's a little different. Now they're like, damn, he's really putting in his rep. I built a whole stage and I spent $200,000 to build a stage in my house. A whole super stage, right? Why? Because I really believe it. I'm willing to risk it all to achieve what I've never had, right? To get what you want, you got to do what you've never done. And that's what I've always been about. I'm always going to put everything on the line to get what I want. And if you don't believe in that, if you don't believe in the vision, then it ain't real. So before all this investing, before all of this stuff, write it down and really believe it. It's in my heart. It's in my heart. It's right here.
It's funny that you talk about the ability to manifest something and that you have to believe it. And if you don't write it down, then it's not real. If it's not tangible and if you can't touch it. But what I want to ask you a question about is your circle, right? Specifically, your circle matters. And for so many people, whether they're entrepreneurs or they're just your ordinary consumer that wants to take that leap of faith eventually into becoming the master of their own destiny as an entrepreneur, the circle matters. And I'm oftentimes reminded of young entrepreneurs that are seeking advice from friends and family, uncles and aunts and grandparents, people who haven't taken that same leap of faith. So I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to sort of explain your take. From my perspective, because I used to be a young entrepreneur, right? I started a company at 24 and I've grown into $1 billion company, right? I never sought advice from people who I wouldn't allow to be a board of directors at my table. Meaning that if they hadn't gone through the same journey that I was on, why would I take their advice? If I'm ill, if I'm feeling sick, I'm going to take somebody's advice who isn't a medical doctor? And by that same token, if I'm feeling sick, I'm not going to go to a chiropractor and ask them what their position is. Meaning like if I'm trying to build $1 billion brand and I got an uncle who owns a pizza parlor, I don't necessarily feel like he's gone through what I need to go through in order to unlock the success of that journey. So talk to me about the importance of the right circle and being able to say, you said goodbye to some friendships, right? You said goodbye. And that doesn't mean goodbye forever, but you did say goodbye. So talk to me about the circle.
Well, you said it, right? And the most important thing is you give advice backwards, you get advice forwards. Break it down. Proximity is power, right? If I'm going to give someone advice, I'm giving advice to people that have not achieved what I have achieved. But if I want to get advice, I'm going to get advice from people that are ahead of me. The more people you surround yourself with that are doing well, the next thing that's going to happen is you're probably going to do well because it's positive. What is that word? Positive. I can't figure it, but you're gonna fit like no one wants to be no one wants to be the bad apple of the thing. I just was talking to my friend the other day, right? And I'm like, yo, listen, the thing about companies is like there's 3 partners, right? Just say me, Troy, and Rashad, right? And if Troy is doing a bunch of work and me and Rashad just slacking, we're gonna feel like we're gonna feel obligated to actually try to do more work to catch it to make Troy not feel like he's the only one in this partnership working, right? Because we've put ourselves in a circle of high achievers. Now, if you put yourself in a circle of people that are not, they don't have a good work ethic, they're not disciplined, they don't speak with wisdom, what's going to happen is you become a part of that. Now, I do say everyone has their own ambitions, everyone has their own discipline, everyone has their own, vision of where they want to be. Like me, I feel like I can be around my friends that are probably not doing the best financially, but I also could be around my friends that are doing the best financially. The thing about yourself is you have to have the discipline, and you gotta have the vision that, like I always say this, I see here, like I see myself over here, right down there. You see it right down there. I don't let noise over here or over there disrupt this vision over here. And if you're able to do that, it really doesn't matter who you're around. The most important thing about being around high achievers or being around people that are successful is access. Getting to know things that you didn't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. Think about it like this. Troy and Rashad got a relationship with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one of the biggest companies in the world, especially right now. Because you are a part of the Market Mondays community, right? We picked 100 people that, that are able to go visit NVIDIA's headquarters and meet NVIDIA's executives. That's proximity. That's power. That is not something you can pay for, right? That is something that is built with relationships, because they were around this person that knew this person, and that gives you access. So I will say being around the right people is going to give you the access that you wouldn't normally get being around people of not, success patterns.